Hi guys, it's Matt here at M-vapes, and today we're going to be having a look at the SXK Nebula Wine RTA, which is a new atomizer that we've got in stock. The reason we decided to stock this particular atomizer is I think that it is a very good atomizer to get into if you've not experienced rebuildables yet, because it really is quite simple to set up a single coil. It's really easy to wick it, and it's a nice simple design, and I think it's absolutely ideal. I mean, if something like this had came out when I was looking to get into rebuildables, I would have been over the moon. I think my first jump into rebuildables was an Odyssey tank, which was vastly complicated and absolutely terrible to try and get it right. So this is great. This is really good to get into rebuildables. This is obviously how it comes, and you get a spares kit, which you will notice that the spares kit is open. Normally it's sealed, but the reason it's open is because we've included some extra black O-rings there. It comes with blue ones, I think fitted as standard, the orange ones in the kit, but we've chucked in a full set of black O-rings as well, because orange or blue might not be to everyone's taste. And you obviously get 2 spare deck screws and a spare screwdriver there as well. This is the tank. Excuse it's a bit hazy. I've just recently cleaned this out because I've been set up on it, but I wanted to start from scratch to show you guys. So it's a nice simple looking atomizer. I think it's called the Wine because if you hold it upside down, the inner chimney looks a bit like a wine glass. Who knows what goes through the minds of the Chinese. Underneath we have a silver plated 510 and the Wine logo and the SXK logo there. It's got a fairly sort of wide bore stainless steel drip tip, which is double O-rings, and this lower section is knurled, so it's nice and easy to grip, because that's the actual only bit that really unscrews. So we just unscrew that there, and there's the deck, which we'll come back to that in a minute. And then you have this section here, and this is quartz glass, so you can use any juice in that. And there's the top section with the chimney sort of all built in one there, so that bit doesn't come off. So the old deck, those of you that have seen Kanga sub-tanks might recognise this deck. It is sort of their version of that, and it is a very easy deck to build on. Nice simple single coil laid across there, and the wicks go down into these really nice deep channels that are perfectly shaped just to pop the ends of the wick in there. So you really can't get this wrong. Nice simple deck to build on, which is great for those getting into rebuildables. It doesn't have adjustable airflow, but it's got quite large airflow there, which one either side, and I don't know if you can see it goes through. You can see the hole in the centre pin there. So it's probably, I would say, for most people, that's probably going to be somewhere in the sort of the right region of airflow. If you do want to, change the airflow slightly, a little trick you can do is if you get yourself a little vape band. I think I've got one kicking around up here. Just pop a little vape band on, and just slide it down, and then you can just set it, to close off a bit of the airflow should you wish. But I think it's going to be pretty much I mean, I find it absolutely perfect for direct lung inhales. It's a little bit airy for mouth to lung, so I will use a vape band just to shut it down. So let's go ahead and whack a coil on this and then show you how easy it is to set up. So we'll screw on this just as a base, and we're going to undo these crosshead deck screws almost all the way. There we go. I'll bring it up so you can see the close up. I've pre-wrapped a coil. This is 0.4mm canthal around a 2mm post there. 6 wraps, so it should come out about 0.5, 0.6 of an ohm. And for those new to coiling, you want your legs opposite each other, so one this way, one that way. And if you have it that way around, you see that the legs are at the top side of the coil, and if you have it obviously the other way around, the legs are at the bottom side. So when we lay this on the deck, we want the legs to be on the underside at the bottom, and it's just a case of laying it on the deck, and just the wires, you'll see, just want to go naturally underneath those screws there. So just centralise it and nip up the screws. Make sure they're done up nice and tight, and then you can just position the coil nice and central, and make sure that it's also raised up off the deck there as well. So next we can get our nail snippers, just chop off the excess legs, get it as close to the deck as you can. There we go. One coil nicely installed. Now before we go any further, we're just going to fire the coil on a variable voltage or variable wattage device to find out what resistance it is. If you've got one of those Coil Master coil tabs, you can use that, because that will do the same thing. I don't, so chuck it on a variable voltage device, and we want to get rid of any hot spots, so we're just going to pulse it, just fire it a couple of little times and just nip it, and just fire it again a little bit longer, then nip it, then fire it, then nip it on the cool down, and that will get rid of any hot spots. Once it sort of gets going, you can sort of start to see what the resistance is, and that should start glowing evenly from the inside of the coil out. So you get a nice even glow there, you see. There we go. So that coil is now ready to go, and it's coming out at 0.58 ish ohms. It fluctuates a little tiny bit, but that's what I was sort of aiming for, that sort of ohmage. Which is the nice thing about using 0.4 canthal on a 2mm bit. I think it's 2mm, I will just check. Uh, 2.3 Chinese measurement for you. The nice thing about that is that the 0.4 canthal is generally, I find that the number of wraps equals the number of well, the point of an ohm. So if you do 10 wraps, you'll get about an ohm. If you do 5 wraps, you'll get about 0.5 ohm. That's for 0.4 canthal on a 2mm-ish bit. So it's a nice wire size to use, and a nice bit size to use to get so you know where you are before you've even started building. So there we go, that's 58.57 of an ohm. So let's get some cotton in this. I've just torn a little strip off about 1 centimetre wide, and you just sort of gently twist it up at the end, not all the way along, just at the end, and poke that through the coil there. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be ridiculously loose either. So there we go, that's pulled through. Now we're going to cut it. It's about 1 centimetre away from the coil. You can always cut it a bit longer than needed and then trim a bit more off, but you can't add it back on, so it's better to cut a little bit more than perhaps you need. And again, if you've cut one side longer than the other, you can just reposition it there. So these channels, these are sort of probably about 3mm diameter, and they're recessed down as well, so we can tuck our cotton into that little channel like so. If you've got too much cotton, that will sort of bunch up, but so if you go on about 1 centimetre, you can't really get it wrong. It's probably a bit too much on that side, so I'm just going to take a tiny little bit off of there. There we go, and we can just poke that and guide that into that channel like so. Now you can do this dry like I have, or you can put a little bit of e-liquid on, which will probably just help it stick down into the position you're trying to get it to go in. But there we go, that is nice and sat in those channels there. Right, let's go ahead and prime up the coil and wick. So we're just going to pop a little bit of e-juice on here. Let's say if you, it might be better to prime it before you tuck it down into the channels, just because you can, then get a little bit of e-liquid on the underside of the wicks there, and you can possibly dab a little tiny bit in those channels. That will just help the wick sit down, and then it's all primed and ready to go, so you won't get any dry hits or anything like that. So I'm just going to poke this wick back in those channels there. There we go. And the next thing to do is to fill up our tank. So you just put your nozzle down between the chimney and the glass. The nozzle on this bottle is quite thick, so it's a bit tricky. If you've got a needle tip bottle, it's probably going to be a bit quicker. I've just got to be a bit careful. I've got quite a big nozzle on this bottle. There we go. I'll put a little bit in for now. I won't fill it all the way up because it'll take ages. So when you're filling it up, just keep your hand sort of there and there, because remember this glass tank can slide off because it's on O-rings, but obviously when it's all screwed together it won't. And then keep it upside down like that and screw the base on. There we go, turn it up the right way. You can see the liquid's going down there now. So that is ready to go. .61 of an ohm. So there we go. So let's just give it a little bit more. 25 watts, 0.6 of an ohm. It's a vape. That's not bad at all. So I wish something like this was available when I was looking to get into rebuildables. It would have made life a lot easier. But yeah, there we go. The SXK Nebula wine, rebuildable atomizer, single coil, Kanga sub-tank style deck, general sort of K-Fund style setup atomizer, non-adjustable airflow but nice and wide for mouth, direct lung inhales. If you want to, shut it down a bit, just whack a vape band on there. One of these little rubber bands. You can close it off a bit. Really easy to set up, and Wick, you can't get it wrong really. The tolerances are quite large on this, so you don't have to be precise with the amount of wick. It sort of has quite a bit of leeway. The tank capacity is I think about 5.5 mil, 5 mil, something like that. So yeah, not a bad little atomizer. Let's have another little vape. That's very nice indeed. Not bad flavour at all either. So there we go. These are in stock and they are $18.95 delivered, which for a rebuildable tank atomizer is silly cheap, and the build quality is really nice as well. So I hope that's helped anyway, and we'll be doing some more videos soon. So thanks a lot. Bye bye.